Hello and welcome to today's Facebook LinkedIn Q&A with Jo Lawrence, who is a return to work expert. Thank you so much to everyone that has submitted their questions. If you've got questions as I'm chatting to Jo about returning to work after either parental leave, sickness or career break, please pop them in the comments and Jo will be delighted to answer. But today it's a Q&A with our return to work expert, Jo Lawrence. I'm going to be answering all your questions about returning to work. Thank you so much, Jo, for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you as always, and obviously get your expertise because you obviously are so knowledgeable in this topic. So thank you.
Fabulous. Excited.
Yeah, really excited. So actually, before we dive into the questions, do you want to just give people a bit of an overview as to who you are, what you do and who you help?
Sure. So I've got two hats, really. I founded the Mum Mentor Careers a couple of years ago to help mums transition back to work smoothly, either if mum's on maternity leave or career break. And then that has developed into helping mums who have already returned, and it's been, it's a bit of a shock to the system, and helping mums, working mums, keep their career aspirations on their radar, so that it doesn't fall by the wayside. And then also I set up the corporate side of parental leave transition support called Work Life Parent. And I support organisations by providing parental leave transitions resources that they can use in-house if they're managing the maternity return parental leave process by themselves. So, yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Perfect. So I've got first question that's been submitted. What are some strategies people can use to build up their confidence before re-entering the workplace?
Okay, so I'll go with the because there's two contexts here. It's they're on maternity leave or career break. So maternity leave won't have been out of the workplace for more than a year. So strategies to build your confidence if you're on maternity leave. I mean, it's definitely got to take advantage of kit days if your employer offers them, because they don't legally have to. And that is just going to, even if you did one kit day or you used part of a kit day to have a keeping in touch meeting with your line manager, a one-to-one line manager, or hop into a virtual team meeting, that's going to help you not feel completely out of the loop. And I think sometimes that's where that lack of confidence can come from, is when you return, you're like, what even is going on? I don't know what's going on, let alone how to remember how to do my job.
Yeah.
And then if you can take more than one kit day, a really good way to build your confidence is I like to view kit days as career development days, like they're professional development days. They're not just there for the employer to get some work out of you. So, like I've said, sitting on a meeting, it could be shadowing a colleague, ask if you can go on a training course.
Yep.
And it could be that once you're into a couple of kit days, it could be that you deliver some training to your team when you're 5 or 6 kit days in, so that when you do have your official return date, you're not sort of hitting the ground running, and that can really build your self-confidence and your belief in yourself that you know what you're doing and you can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
brilliant. And then if someone's on a career break, so they don't get a kit day.
Yeah. So career break, that's slightly different. To start with, I would say networking. If you are on a career break and you're thinking about going back to work, the first thing that I would recommend is to get on LinkedIn, get on, Facebook, for example, part of this group, and start just seeing, what's going on, what's going on in the world of work, what conversations are people having around return to work, doing some research, just even on LinkedIn, not stalking, but research some people, like some jobs, job titles that you've previously done, and see what, if they're posting anything, what type of things they're talking about, so that you can get a bit of a picture of the working scene, so that you know where you might want to start. So that's a really good one for building your confidence. And when we say confidence, I mean that's a quite loose term, because confidence means slightly different things to other people, but I'm taking that as like a self-confidence, self-belief. Yeah, I can do this. So
yeah. Okay, so then actually you touched on this actually with the days. So how important do you think it is for somebody to spend time refreshing their skills and experience, or doing any training before returning to work, and what's the best way to go about that?
I'd say that anything that is going to make you feel more confident and more sort of being able to get your head back in the game is, yes, see if there's any refresher training out there, but only if you know exactly what you want to do when you return. So refresher training is very useful for specific sectors that you know that you want to get back into. Saying that, if you're not sure what you want to, what sector you want to get back into, there's lots of free courses around, even like LinkedIn courses, and there's government funding for online courses that you could go on and sort of experiment to see, what's this all about, and would I like to? For example, there's a scheme at the moment for mental health training that you can do online. So there's lots of free courses out there.
Absolutely. Is it Digital Mums or something like that as well that train?
Yeah, especially in terms of tech mums and data and STEM. Those types of companies, organisations do offer the returner programs, specific programs that you can apply for. And Women Returners, their website is the best place to go and have a look to see what type of returner schemes are out there. Because you can get, for example, the returner scheme is, you'd have an interview and you'd be upskilled on like a temporary contract. It might be 6 months, it's a year, where you're properly in the business, but you're inducted and slowly reintegrated. And then at the end of that returner scheme, you've got the opportunity to apply for anything internally, or then you've got that experience to go elsewhere.
Brilliant. How can you communicate your career break in a job interview and portray it as a strength?
So I say, there's only one way I go about this, and it's being upfront. Employers they're aware that the cost of childcare has kept a lot of women from returning to work after maternity leave. Obviously, in 2024, the funding schemes are going to change, etc. So I'd say don't be scared. It's something that you've got to keep under the carpet. You had a valid reason to do so. I recommend to mums I work with, put it on your CV to start with, and whether you want to put career break to raise a young family or parents. I mean, on LinkedIn, on your profile, you can actually put on your job experience parent, and I've got that. So you're not shying away from it. And also, a lot of employers are keen to employ parents because they know that parents have got a plethora of skills that, you know, a 20-something-year-old hasn't quite got. You know, the multitasking, the leadership, the conflict resolution, and you know, if you're asked about it in an interview, then, you know, offer it up. I don't see how holding it back is going to do you any favors, really. And if it's, when you do broach that, you know, read the room. What feedback are you getting in that interview from that conversation? And if it's a bit prickly, then, well, actually, does this company match your values, and is it going to be the best place for you? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. How can people manage their work-life balance when they transition back to work, and set any boundaries for their
family? This one comes up a lot, especially in maternity return coaching with new mums. So, for example, I get asked a lot, before I was a mom, you know, I was able to be flexible. I could say yes to quite a lot of requests in meetings to be a volunteer to lead on this, or you know, can you stop, we've got a client coming in, can you stop a little bit later? So the worry is how can I still how can I still make it known that, you know, I'm not taking my job any less seriously, but that, you know, I can't do those things anymore. And it's a bit of a mindset shift. And I find the best way to start that mindset shift is by looking at ways that you can say no without feeling bad. So I'm actually just working on a document that I can share, because this is one that comes up a lot.
We'll add it to the show notes.
Yeah, five ways to say no at work without feeling bad.
I think that'll be so helpful. Yeah, do share it, because I, you know, even like, it's really hard, isn't it? I think because we're conditioned to be such people pleasers.
Yeah.
And then you feel bad saying no.
Yeah. So one way of looking at it is strategically. For example, you say to yourself, well, if I say yes to said task, is it going to get me any closer to my career aspirations? So it's not that, you know, you're not making a decision based plainly on, am I going to let my team down, or, you know, I'm not going to be put forward for said promotion if I just sit there and don't volunteer. But saying yes or no to things, you can be strategic about it. So if you've got your career aspirations in mind and an opportunity comes up, like, okay, we need someone to lead on this, and you're like, okay, I've been waiting for this to come up. Yes, I will. Then when you do say no, then, you know, you're not going to feel as bad, and maybe those pangs of guilt won't be as strong. To start off with as well, you could try saying no to every other request, instead of just saying, no, I can't do that, no, I can't do that, no, I can't do that. Other tips are, if you're returning after maternity, at some stage in a team meeting, if you're returning on different hours or a different working pattern, communicate that verbally with the team so people know, because if other people know your boundaries, they're less likely to be broken, and you won't be put in the place where you're going to have that courageous conversation of, well, actually, remember, Wednesday is my non-working day.
Mhm.
And that's another piece of advice there. The language, it's not my day off, it's my non-working day. And also popping your working hours, your working day. Oh dear, I have frozen there. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah.
Okay. The internet went down for an hour this morning, so
Yeah, we can still hear you.
And put that in your email signature. So the more people see, when you are available for work, the less they're going to ask, and that's going to make you feel confident that you've got your boundaries out there. And put an out of office automatic message on. If Wednesdays are your non-working day, put it on to come on Tuesday and back on Thursday.
Brilliant.
And I'd say also how to best manage your work-life balance, to decide what your non-negotiables are really, as a mum, and for life, your life, your family life, and at work. So for example, as a mum, it could be a non-negotiable is, I have to read at least one book with my child a day. Or I'm going to be doing bedtimes on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, I'm doing pickups on these days. Yeah, really good.
So you've got those specifics down and decided and communicated to your partner as well, or whoever you live with in your support network, so that they can help you uphold your boundaries as well. If they see that you're getting your laptop out to do a bit of, check an email or do something, you're like, hang about, it's a Thursday night. That's the night when we said we won't do that. We're going to, watch a film together or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I said, I was creating a document with some sort of ready-made phrases that you can practice and get used to saying, and make your own a little bit to respond to requests in meetings, or to say, no, I can't work late. So I'll pop a link into that.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Please send us the link and we'll add it. What advice do you have for employers to facilitate a smooth transition for those returning to work after a career break?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I've sorted it out. What was the question? Sorry,
that's right. You're back. Nice to see you face again. What advice do you have for employers to facilitate a smooth transition for those returning to work after a career break?
After career break, so if it's maternity leave, definitely offer the kit days and have a kit day program that is like a loose penciled in program that could run across the whole organization, so that there's some consistency in the quality of engagement that returners are getting. Not to say that every department has to do the same thing, but there are some basics, like having an official return to work meeting, like a one-to-one on your first kit day, having a reinduction period, making sure there's they've got a reinduction, like managers have got a reinduction checklist, and help take some of the burden off the returner to think, well, I've got to do this. They've been in babyland if they've been on maternity or paternity leave. They've been in babyland. They're probably a bit sleep deprived, so they'll appreciate being told, okay, this is some of the things you can do, that you need to do on your kit day, and use, you can use that kit day as sort of your return to work. Those kit days, as your return to work sort of program. If if you're unable to offer, group or one-to-one return to work coaching. So definitely, the smooth transition. So if it's a career break, definitely, if it's a career break, someone's returning to work, it's a brand new job. So you're going to have that reinduction period. But it could be that you offer a buddy up system or like a peer mentoring system, or if you've got, you could set up a working parents network so that if someone's been out of the world of work for, 3 or 4 years, they can get to chat to other working parents and see, what it's like and ask for any support. But also offer like a phased return in. So if they've been on a career break and it's a full-time role, then you could start it off as, part-time for so many weeks so that they can get themselves into the swing of things. But definitely a career break returners, there's going to be a bit more of need for CPD. And probably more one-to-one mentoring from the line managers. So those regular check-ins, like not once a quarter, it's once a month. It's making sure that they're not, they're not floundering. And even, for example, if organisations want to do training, it's to help line managers pick up on any of the warning signs that someone's struggling with their return to work, so that intervention can happen, rather than trying to solve a massive problem further down the line. So,
brilliant. And then the final, really good. And the final question: how to negotiate flexible working request on returning to work or when looking for a new job? Your top tips.
Okay, so returning to work. First of all, make sure you've got hold of the flexible working policy and the family-friendly working policy. And if you haven't, because you haven't got access to the internet, get in touch with a colleague or and ask them to download it and send it to you. So you know exactly what the process is and the steps that your employer wants you to take. You can apply for flexible working if you've been in continuous employment with that employer for 26 weeks.
I think it's 26 weeks.
Yeah. And you can only make one flexible working request per 12 months. So preparing your request against the legislation of how, for what reasons an employer can refuse a flexible working request. And there is a document available on ACAS. I'll send you the link. And there's a document saying how employers should respond to a flexible working request. I think there's about 8 bullet points of what grounds they can be refused on. So do your research. Give your employer the answers to, it's not going to have a detrimental effect on the experience of the customer experience, or it's not going to have a significant effect on productivity in the team, and give some examples of how this could work, because you've done your job, you're the expert in the job, and you know how it could work. So within that flexible working request, give examples to show how potential hurdles could be negated and avoided. So it's like forewarned is forearmed when you come to make your flexible working request if you want to return, if you're on maternity leave. So ACAS has got a letter template as well. Some organisations have their own sort of process of how to apply for flexible working, but if your employer hasn't, ACAS has got a letter template, and you can just change the relevant parts to you. And yeah, flexible working, I suppose in general, flexible working isn't just I want to start, finish at different times. There's different types of flexible working. We've got job share, working from home. You've got your compressed hours, part-time hours. This is one I quite like, the 9-day fortnight.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
So
I remember my husband had that when we first met.
Yeah,
that's
a really good one to negotiate. So for example, if you're trying to negotiate part-time and you want to say do 4 days a week, and they come back and say no, well then the next tool in your in your kit is, well, how about a 9-day fortnight?
I suppose that doesn't help if you have childcare though. You have to pay.
No, it's not ideal, but if you do have a support network close to you, and you do have someone who can help out with childcare, they might be more up for it if they get to look after baby once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, rather than once a week. Or
yeah, for example, so you're not, don't feel like you're putting on family. You've got your annualized hours, where you've got to complete a core amount of hours, and then over a year, and then the rest can be worked flexibly. And then you've got 0 hours contracts as well, so that's another type of.
What do you think of 0 hours contracts? Because some people obviously like them and others hate them.
I don't think they work that well if you've got kids, because you've got to have everything organized. You need to know what days you're working, so that childcare and pickups and everything can be organized in advance. But if it suits you, for example, supply teaching, if you used to be a teacher and you want to get back into work and you're not sure if you want to get back into teaching, for example, supply teaching, that would probably be on 0 hours contract. And you could say, well, I can only do it on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then that
some weeks
it's a gamble. It's a gamble. It's a gamble, isn't it? And then, so...
And then when you're looking for a new job, and this is a tough one, and this is one I get asked a lot as well, so I guess it's to bring it up and how to negotiate it.
Yeah, I mean, there's two options. Flexible work, or jobs that offer flexible working, more and more are being advertised as flexible working, but there's still a lot that aren't. So if you're applying for a job and it says it's full-time, as long as it's not a job that it's obvious that they can't do flexible working, apply for it.
I think apply, because when I go back to a lot of my clients, and because we're obviously a flexible working job board, and it doesn't mention flex, I'm like, can you offer flex? Oh yeah, of course, but they haven't put it on the ad, and I just think, why don't you put it on the ad? But it's hybrid working, I think, is like the new full-time. So I think as a minimum for a lot of jobs, not every job, but a lot of jobs, you're probably going to get hybrid, which is more flexible than we had in 2019.
Absolutely. And for some mums returning to work, that's enough.
Yeah.
On days when they've got to, do the nursery drop-offs and pickups, it might even be that actually they can start earlier because they haven't got to commute into somewhere. So it's about thinking about how flexible working is going to benefit the business really. It's the business case. So apply for jobs full-time jobs, even, you know, if they're not advertised as full-time. And you can, if it's not obvious on an organization's website, because that's the other thing to do, if they haven't put it on the job advert, it doesn't mean they don't offer it. Like you said, it might just have slipped through the net. So go on and do the research on the website, see if they've got any flexible working policies listed, or look at their values, their mission statements, and then you'll see whether actually there might be a chance here. And even, you know, get in touch and say, you know, I'm interested in potentially working for your company. Do you have a family friendly, flexible working policy? Or, you know, what are the you know, the requirements? So you can put the feelers out there. So yeah, when to bring it up, I would say you've got to get past the first interview.
Yeah, I think so.
And then on the second interview, read the room, see what discussions come up, see if there is a relevant moment to bring it up or to plant a seed. And you'll only know that when you're in the interview. So that's what some mums I've worked with do. And I think in that case, it's because they've got that sort of that moral compass of like, I want this, and I want to be honest about it, because that's one of my values. I do want to have flexible working opportunity in this company. But then the flip side is, if you do mention it and then it's not quite, that wouldn't suit the job role or the company, then, you know, you may be out of the running. But if you don't mention it and prove, and just, you know, your job is to get them to sort of to like you, to trust you, to see that you're the best person for the job over everyone else. And then when you get that job offer, then you can start to negotiate.
Yeah. And I do think it's as much you interviewing them as them interviewing you as well in an interview. So personally, I think a second stage is probably the right time to bring it up, because I remember working in-house, you know, and we'd suddenly get somebody wanting part-time when we'd made them the offer, and it felt a little bit like they just sprung it on you right at the end. I think it would have landed better if they discussed it with the hiring manager at the second stage.
And there you go. I think you're a better person to answer that.
I think it's difficult, and then at least you've only as well wasted one interview. If it's non-negotiable for you, and they say no, you've not wasted loads of time either.
Yeah. And you haven't wasted, you know, also look at it like a research and a bit of a research project and a practice. If it's your first interview in a while, don't put any expectations on yourself. And if they say, no, we don't, it's not going to be flexible working, then you've had that practice of interview as well, and you'll do better. Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, well, where can people find, how do you remind people how you help them again, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so Working Mums, I do one-to-one mentoring, career coaching with working mums who are wanting to return to work, or who have returned to work, and, you know, their career aspirations are just, oh my gosh, who am I? What am I doing? You know, work-life balance. I was going for promotion, but should I now? Should I not? So I do one-to-one mentoring to help mums keep their career aspirations high up on their work-life mum to-do list. And you can contact me via my website, which is www.themummentor.com. And then if you're an organisation, my website is Work Life Parent. That's work-life-parent.co.uk.
Brilliant. Oh, we'll put all the links and we'll get your link as well for how to say no as well. That'd be brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you so much for your time today, Jo. Thank you to everyone that watched.
I loved it. Happy to help. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.